The UK has halved its carbon emissions since 1990, but whose life has been made easier? Who is paying lower bills? Who is dealing with fewer floods? No one. But Ed Miliband comes out and declares, no, this is what responsibility is. So whose responsibility is it? Yours. That's exactly what we'll be discussing in this video. So before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Since 1990, we've reduced our CO2 emissions by half, but it hasn't made a hateworth of difference to the impact of climate change on ordinary people in this country. So we've got surely to put our priority in adaptation and resilience measures.
I think that would be grossly irresponsible because the way I think about this is obviously Britain on its own can't tackle the climate crisis. You're absolutely right to say that. We're 1% of global emissions. But the decisions we make have a massive effect on our ability to influence others to also
But you're ducking the question about adaptation and resilience because we used to be global leaders in adaptation and resilience, and the Climate Change Committee says that we have fallen behind on that. You should be willing, as a member of the government, to insist that greater priority should be given to investment in adaptation and resilience, even if it means having to cut back on some of your own ambitions in your own department.
I don't think that would be a responsible course of action, Sir Christopher, and I think you are posing a false choice. And I think if we say to the British people, just to step outside this committee for a minute, if we say to the British people, should we tackle the threat of climate change that it's going to pose to people's way of life, they'd say absolutely.
Now look, Sir Christopher Chope says something quite simple. Mate, we've halved carbon since 1990 and the result. He's right, because people are still struggling with high energy prices, floods are increasing, infrastructure is collapsing. So people are still dealing with the same problems. You'd have to be completely stuck in the Westminster cabinet not to see that. Ed Miliband comes out and gives the classic spiel. Responsibility, global leadership, moral superiority, and so on. Always the same old story. Britain will set an example to the world, he says. Sorry, Ed, but are China, India and Russia lying awake worrying about our carbon targets? No. While they're running their factories on coal, we're killing our own industry and inflating household bills. Chop's point about adaptation and resilience is actually crucial. Floods are coming, roads are shifting, waterlogging is increasing, but the government is still fixated on solar panels, wind turbines, carbon taxes, and so on. My dear friend, first strengthen the infrastructure so people don't lose their homes. Isn't that the priority? And the Starmer administration is right in the middle of it all. These people have only one thing on their minds, teaching the world a moral lesson. But they can't solve the country's real problems. There's no solution to the migration crisis, no solution to the energy crisis, no solution to the climate infrastructure. But when they go to conferences, they show off. In short, Britain thinks it's a hero, but in reality, it doesn't care about its own people. If you look at the media reactions, the division is clear. Newspapers like The Guardian say, Miliband is right, leadership is essential. But the Conservative camp is rebelling, saying, brother, people can't heat their homes, and you're still worried about the global image. Meanwhile, ordinary citizens are looking at their bills, checking their car fuel tanks, and asking, when will my life get easier? The bottom line, this debate isn't just about climate change, it's entirely about priorities. Should the people come first, or should we put on a show on the world stage? So what do you say? Should we invest in our own infrastructure and our own people first, or should we make sacrifices for world leadership, as Miliband says? Write your comments, let's discuss. Remember, if you like, subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't miss these discussions.